They never shouted across racetracks. They never clashed in marketing battles or corporate scandals. But for over a century, two car makers have waged one of the most refined rivalries in the history of the automobile. A quiet, elegant duel fought in boardrooms, design studios, and on the open road. This is the story of Cadillac and Rolls-Royce, a century-long silent war to define what perfection really means. At the start of the 1900s, the automobile was an invention in its infancy. It was noisy, unreliable, and often more dangerous than useful. But in that chaos, a few visionaries saw something greater, not just a machine, but a symbol, a new form of identity. In America, one of those men was Henry Martin Leland, a precision engineer from Vermont who had worked in the firearms industry. Leland believed the future of cars wasn't in raw power, but in precision. He was obsessed with tolerances, with parts so exact that any piece could fit perfectly into another. To him, the automobile should be built with the same accuracy as a Swiss watch. In 1902, after a dispute with Henry Ford, Leland took over a small company and renamed it Cadillac. It was a name chosen to honor the French explorer Antoine Lomé de la Motte, Sieur de Cadillac, the founder of Detroit. From its very birth, the brand carried both heritage and ambition. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, another engineer was working late into the night, a quiet perfectionist named Henry Royce. Royce had grown up poor, the son of a miller, but his natural talent for mechanics pushed him to build electric cranes and motors of exceptional quality. He bought a small French car that disappointed him, and in true Royce fashion, he decided to build a better one himself. At a dinner in Manchester in 1904, he met Charles Rolls, a wealthy aristocrat, adventurer, and early motoring enthusiast. The chemistry was instant. Rolls had the passion and connections. Royce had the craftsmanship and skill. Together they formed Rolls-Royce Limited. Their motto became their philosophy: take the best that exists and make it better. By 1908, Cadillac had already stunned the world. To prove the precision of American engineering, Leland allowed engineers from the Royal Automobile Club in London to perform a radical experiment. They took 3 Cadillacs, disassembled them completely, mixed up the parts, reassembled them randomly, and every single car started perfectly. No adjustments, no errors. The judges were speechless. Cadillac won the Dewar Trophy and the title Standard of the World. For the first time, Europeans were forced to admit America could build excellence. In England, Henry Royce took note. He didn't envy Cadillac, he respected it. But he also believed something deeper. Perfection wasn't just about mechanical precision. It was about emotion, the feeling of absolute serenity when a machine disappears beneath you. In 1907, Rolls-Royce unveiled the Silver Ghost. It was so quiet, so smooth, that observers called it the best car in the world. It glided over cobblestones, whispering instead of roaring. And while Cadillac was conquering factories with mass precision, Rolls-Royce was conquering hearts with silence. Then came World War I. Factories that once built engines for luxury cars turned to building engines for airplanes. Rolls-Royce developed the legendary Eagle aircraft engine, which powered many British bombers and reconnaissance planes. Cadillac, on the other hand, became vital to the American war effort by standardizing parts and engines, proving again the superiority of interchangeable precision. When peace returned, both companies had grown stronger, not just in skill, but in identity. In the roaring 1920s, the world wanted glamour, jazz, champagne, speed, and status. Cadillac and Rolls-Royce became the twin symbols of wealth, but in very different ways. Cadillac was bold, modern, confident, the American dream on 4 wheels. Rolls-Royce was refined, reserved, almost royal. A car you were driven in, not one you drove. But Cadillac wanted more. In 1930, they unveiled their masterpiece, the Cadillac V16. It was the first production car with a 16-cylinder engine, producing an unheard-of smoothness and silence. Its interior was luxurious, its styling bold and extravagant. It wasn't just a car, it was a declaration. Cadillac had built something meant to rival and even surpass Rolls-Royce. The V16 made waves in Europe. Automotive journalists were astonished. America, the land of mass production, had built a car that could challenge the masters of handcraft. But then history intervened. The Great Depression hit and luxury was suddenly out of reach for almost everyone. Sales plummeted, and both Cadillac and Rolls-Royce had to fight for survival. For Rolls-Royce, the 1930s were saved not by cars but by engines. Their Merlin aircraft engine would go on to power the Spitfire, Hurricane, and even the P-51 Mustang, changing the course of World War II. Cadillac, too, returned to the battlefield, building tanks and engines for the Allies. Luxury had taken a back seat. Now it was about endurance and patriotism. After the war, the world was rebuilt, and so were its dreams. The 1950s brought prosperity, optimism, and style. Cadillac embraced the new America. Chrome, tail fins, V8 engines, and design that felt like jet-age sculpture. It became a symbol of success, of ambition, of having made it. Everyone, from movie stars to presidents, wanted one. Rolls-Royce, meanwhile, remained timeless. Its cars changed slowly, elegantly. While Cadillac embodied progress, Rolls-Royce represented permanence. Its owners didn't chase trends, they created them. The two philosophies stood in perfect contrast. Cadillac was loud. Rolls-Royce was silent. Cadillac said, "Look at me." Rolls-Royce said, "You already know who I am." Yet beneath the calm, the rivalry never faded. In the 1950s, Rolls-Royce engineers quietly purchased a Cadillac to study its hydromatic automatic transmission, which was years ahead of European technology. They were so impressed that they later licensed and adapted it for their own use, a quiet acknowledgement that even the kings of luxury could learn from Detroit. Through the 1960s and 70s, Cadillac continued to dominate the American market, but cracks began to show. Competition from Europe and Japan was rising. Rolls-Royce, still handmade, remained exclusive but financially fragile. When a jet engine project nearly bankrupted them in 1971, the company split. Rolls-Royce Motors became a separate entity. The myth of perfection had its price. In America, the oil crisis hit hard. Big V8 Cadillacs suddenly looked outdated in a world demanding efficiency. Meanwhile, Rolls-Royce customers barely noticed. They weren't the ones paying for fuel. Luxury itself was changing. It wasn't about how big your car was anymore. It was about how refined it felt. By the 1980s, Cadillac's golden image had started to fade. New luxury rivals like Mercedes-Benz and BMW were redefining the meaning of prestige with precision engineering and reliability. Rolls-Royce remained the symbol of old-world grandeur, but even that world was shrinking. The silent war was no longer about who built the better car. It was about who could remain relevant, and yet neither name vanished. In the 2000s, Cadillac reinvented itself, sharp-edged, bold, aggressive. Cars like the CTS-V and Escalade became cultural icons, mixing American muscle with modern luxury. The brand that once built the standard of the world was reborn as a challenger again. Rolls-Royce, now under BMW's ownership, also evolved, combining handcrafted tradition with 21st century technology. The Phantom, Ghost, and Cullinan became rolling works of art, with silence so perfect it bordered on supernatural. It wasn't just luxury anymore. It was sanctuary. Today, over a century after their first encounter, the rivalry still lives on. Not in sales charts, but in spirit. Cadillac continues to represent boldness, the dream that luxury can be democratic, that innovation belongs to everyone. Rolls-Royce stands for purity, that luxury must remain sacred, untouched by time or trend. They exist at opposite ends of the same dream. Cadillac, the pioneer who industrialized precision, Rolls-Royce, the artisan who immortalized silence. Two sides of the same coin, both chasing a single unreachable goal: perfection. And maybe that's what makes their story so powerful. Because in this silent war, there was never a true winner. Only two brands that taught the world what excellence could look like and what it cost to pursue it.